Hey guys, Mike here. In this video, I'm going to react to Varsona's video, which is this video here, and it's the Fire Emblem Engage's 8 class types explained. So I will probably put a link, well actually I will put a link to this video in the description, so subscribe to him and check out his channel and like that video. I think this is a pretty good video as well. Also, Varsona, good song choice. I really like your song choice for this video. It's Arkmaw, by the way. So let's just get right into it.
Role of. These a staple in the Fire Emblem franchise are the many playable classes such as Swordmasters, Assassins, Paladins, and Pegasus Knights that your units can take the role of. These classes have always been classified into a certain type, such as a Paladin being classified as a cavalry unit or a Pegasus Knight being classified as a flying unit. Fire Emblem Engage is looking to expand on these class types. A class within this game can be one or more of 8 class types. Each class type has a special bonus or property attached.
One or more of 8 class types. So it's only 8 classes. Okay.
To them and also
Well, class types. Let's see what he says, but I'm getting the vibe that there's only 8 classes.
also gains increased effect bonuses when the class type matches specific engage skills or attack types. If your unit's engage attack normally takes 30% of your strength and converts that to damage, then it may take 50% of your strength instead if you are of the correct class type. The 8 class types are as follows. First up, we have the Dragon. Some classes that would probably be branded with the Dragon class type would be Alir's.
So I'm curious if the Dragon has anything to do story-wise, like Dragon Blood, or like something in Fates, where some characters were dragon characters, or is Dragon just a like the Lord character? Is the Lord's dragons? I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
Default class and any Manakets within the game. All
Like maybe a dragon could be like a leadership type of class. I don't know.
Marks Dragon.
So like a leadership class, like in Fire Emblem 4, was they provided authority stars, which increased the hit and avoid rate for adjacent units that were like 2 squares up by your unit. So maybe it's like a leadership unit. I'm just guessing. I could be totally wrong.
Will always receive an engaged.
By the way, this girl, her and her brother, I think they are the Christmas calves of this game. Christmas calves, if for those of you who don't know, are basically every Fire Emblem game early in the game, they give you a red unit and a green unit. That is, their clothes that they're wearing are either red or green, and they were typically cavaliers or mounted units. And they were similar, but they were very they had some differences between them. They're kind of like beginner units, and some of the games they sucked, but some that are pretty good. But basically, they're like your starting units, and they're always red and they're always green, and that's why they call them Christmas calves. And it took me a while to figure this out because she's wearing red and her brother's wearing green clothes, but they're not calves, right? I think the kid is a mage and she's a monk, so that's pretty cool.
Skill or engage attack bonus effect.
See, she's like a monk.
Class type. Units like armored knights and generals are considered armored and have the special bonus.
So it's probably gonna be like axe armor, sword armor, lance armor to start off, and then probably fortress knight. Okay.
Being immune to break. This helps them tank better as they can no longer be disarmed, assuring the unit.
That's kind of good. Like they just call it armor because in the previous games when you had like sword armor, axe armor, lance armor, I mean, it made sense, but like it was just kind of redundant. So if you just kind of group them all into armor, then that makes sense, and they all kind of have that. They share that characteristic.
Its ability to retaliate while in range. The third class type is Cavalry. Mounted units like Cavaliers, Wolf Knights, and Paladins will fall into this category. A class marked as a Cavalry will always have a higher movement bonus than other classes. For Fire Emblem newbies, high movement is a very potent tool.
So I guess the Wolf class is going to be part of Cavalry, and one of my favorite characters right now. Yeah, she's a mounted unit.
Class type. Flyers are mounted units capable of flights like Dragon Knights.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. So Flyers are separate from Cavalry, it seems. So Flyers are their own unit. Okay, so that makes sense. Cavalry is they have high movement on the ground, but Flyers are naturally high movement, but they can avoid terrain like woods and they can fly over mountains, so they're not really affected by terrain.
Knights have
which is both a good and a bad thing, right? Because you cannot take advantage of terrain, but because you're in the air, obviously.
Special bonus of being unhindered by terrain. For example, in the desert, most of your other units will be impaired in terms of movement, but flyers will not be impacted by this. On the opposite side, flyers are
Deserts also are notoriously bad for cavalry because the sand slows the horses down. So I think, yeah. So flyers will be obviously really good in cavalry, but most of the Fire Emblem people already know this.
affected by terrain bonuses like a forest or a fort that could have provided them with more avoid. Traditionally, they'll also have an innate weakness to bows as well, a check for their wonderful ability to skip certain map challenges. The 5th class type is a Covert unit. A unit of this type, such as a Thief, are given the special bonus of doubling a user's terrain bonus, powering
So Assassin, Thief, all that kind of stuff.
up map tiles.
I'm wondering, like, I mean, for me, I felt like Thief played pretty differently from Assassin. Assassin was more combat oriented. Thief was kind of just a shitty unit that could steal open doors, and I mean, granted they had high avoid usually, but you weren't really going to send your Thief into battle because they usually get killed if they took too many attacks, and you're just trying to gamble on avoid. So I'm wondering, like, how does Covert differentiate a Thief versus an Assassin, right? Because like I said earlier, Assassin is more combat oriented, so that would be interesting to find out.
Like forests and forts immensely. The 6th class bonus is the Mystical.
I'm also guessing that Thieves and Assassins will not be affected by movement hindrance from woods. I think that was in the previous games as well.
Classes like Mages and Sages will get the special bonus
Mystical.
that allows them to ignore a foe's terrain bonus while using magic. A Mystical is a good counter to a Covert unit. The 7th
Also here you can kind of see
foe's
this
terrain
is
bonus
pretty
while
important.
using
Hold on.
magic. A Mystical is a good counter to a Covert.
So you can see in the bottom corner here, it shows the class type name. So it says V-Dame. I don't know what V-Dame is, but this is this character and this is Mystical. So and it was showing that for all of the other class types as well.
Covert unit. The 7th class type is the Backup. Classes like
Backup.
Fighters, Swordmasters,
That's kind of a lame name. I'm just going to say it right now.
and Heroes are given the special bonus to follow up on an ally's attack with a chain attack if they are in range themselves to attack that enemy. And on the opposite
So they can add an additional attack for an adjacent unit that attacks. So for like a dragon, okay, so we can kind of let's break it down.
on
So
an ally's
okay. One more back.
Backup. Classes like Fighters, Swordmasters, and Heroes are given the special bonus to
So okay, if a Lear attacks
follow
here,
up on an ally's attack
then the backup unit can also provide another attack, given that they're close enough to the attacking unit, which in this case was a Lear.
with a chain attack if they are in range themselves to attack that enemy. And on the opposite end of that is
Or maybe a Lear can also be like a dragon plus a backup.
the
Right.
8th and final class type, the Chi.
I guess the point is they provide an extra attack, which is increases your offensive capabilities and your outgoing damage. That's gonna be kind of overpowered. Now that I think about it, because when you think about it, player phase. Okay, if you have 10 units on player phase, and traditionally in past Fire Emblems you get 10 attacks, right? And then you could get more attacks in if you utilize the enemy phase to, just do more counterattacks. Put obviously risk your units, put them in danger more, but they can counterattack more, and they'll be taking more damage. But for backup, you get free attacks. So you could place a backup unit around your frontline units who are all engaging in attacks, and that backup unit provide follow-up attacks for like up to 3 units. I feel like that's pretty overpowered. But that also means you have to be very not cautious, but aware of your positioning. I have a feeling that's going to be really strong. Chi Adept is the next
This
one.
class can nullify damage with a Chain Guard when adjacent allies are to suffer damage in combat at the cost of up to 20% of their health. The special
So they can take the damage for adjacent allies when your adjacent ally goes into combat, basically.
Chain Guard can only trigger if the Chi Adept is at maximum health. And there you have it, the 8 class types of Fire Emblem.
That's interesting. I don't think it's as strong as backup. So basically, you can take damage. I mean, how much damage do you take? Would it be reduced damage? Sometimes you don't want to take damage because it might screw up your plans. I mean, what if the Chi Adept has shitty defense? So, I mean, you sometimes like maybe they're not armored, but they're like a fighter or a monk and they have low defense. So would it really be a good idea to take all that damage? Um, or it could be good. I can see how it would be good. You could have the chi adept absorb damage from three units that they're adjacent to, and because all that damage is funneled into one unit, that means your healer only has to heal one unit. So I think that could be pretty good, actually. I don't know. We'll see. That's pretty interesting.
Engage. Some classes may be of multiple types. For example,
Oh, okay. So you can have multiple class types on a character. That's really cool. So you can have like flying dragon or armored flyer or armored cavalry. Okay, that's where Okay, so that's where like Fortress Knight, armored cavalry come in. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, wow. Okay, mystical cavalry, mystical flyer, mystical dragon. I don't know, mystical backup. Oh, you can just think of every possible combination, and I guess that makes sense because every class. I mean, there's already so many classes in Fire Emblem in the past, like Swordmaster, Assassin, blah 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 blah. There's so many classes, so it makes sense naturally that combinations of these 8 class types would form the. You're essentially getting those classes from the past Fire Emblems. Um, okay, that makes sense.
Great Knights are a hybrid of 2 class types, being an armored cavalry.
Yeah,
I
Great
wouldn't be
Knight, armored
surprised in the
cavalry.
slightest if we saw more multi-type units. If you had a good time, support this video with a like. And if you're looking for more Fire Emblem engaged content, be sure to subscribe and turn on the
Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. This looks really interesting. I think this is a really good take on the class system. I mean, there's already too much types. Sorry, there's already too much classes in the past. With this class system, it kind of really shows you on face value. You can really tell what the class is, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and what their utility is for. So I actually really like this system on first class. We'll see how it goes, but I'm actually looking forward to this. Like I said, give Varsona a sub and a view and a like. This is a really informative video, and I really liked it. And thanks for watching.